With us here on the show, legendary rock drummer Carmine Appice. Carmine, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for doing this. Now, Carmine, first thing I got to ask you. Your brother Vinny pronounces it Appice. Is that correct?
My older brother pronounces it Appice.
Okay, so there's actually 3 different ways you guys pronounce it, right?
Yeah, so what I've been doing is just saying, just call it Appice. It's only 3 letters more than ALP.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know, when they go out on tour, which version are they going to use?
Well, that's what we're going to say. Here's Appice.
There you go. You know, bottom line is you have never slowed down from the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, I've done also, you know, the 90s was probably the weirdest decade for me because, you know, especially the beginning of the 90s when you had all the Nirvana and all that, we were like dinosaurs, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember at the beginning of the 90s, I had a group called Mother's Army with Joe Lynn Turner, Bob Daisley, you know, and Jeff Watson, and, you know, and it was like very out of place from what was happening, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but eventually it came back, and we were not dinosaurs anymore. Now they call you legendary.
Right, which is a good thing, and you know, you definitely fit into that category. Now you have your new project with your brother, which, you know, I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys basically had always done drum clinics together, talked about doing something for the longest time, and then finally put it together.
Yeah, it took a while. You know, we never really thought about it as doing an album, really. You know, it was only because we took on a manager that last year that said, you know what, I think you guys would do a lot better if you put out a product. You know, so then we decided, okay, if we do a Pledge Music. We said, well, you know, we don't know how to set it up. So the manager set it all up. We did a Pledge Music, and it went great. And then we ended up getting the demo together for Monsters and Heroes, and that got us a record deal, and the rest, you know, we've been working it. You know, we went and did the record, and that was a lot of fun, you know? Yeah,
and by the way, the video for Monsters and Heroes is killer. It's a killer song. In fact, I've listened to the whole album. The whole album is really good. You know, it's a rock-solid album, which leads me to, you had a lot of people on this album. I mean, you had multiple vocalists, multiple guitar players, multiple bass players, and of course only 2 drummers, because that's all you needed.
Right.
But,
well, we had multiple drummers.
Oh, did you? Besides you and Vinny?
No. Oh. It's just me and Vinny.
Right.
That's a multiple of 2.
Well, that is true. You got me there. So now, when you tour, who is going to be in the touring band?
Well, I mean, we have different bands all over the world, actually. We're going to Europe in January, and we have a European band that we used in 2012 that are really good. When we play in the New York area, we have a New York band that includes a singer, Jim Crean, that's on the record.
Sure.
We go to L.A., we have another band in L.A. with Jim as well, and sometimes Chaz West sings with us on the West Coast.
So you mix it up a little bit, which is cool.
Yeah, we mix it up because, you know, the project's not big enough to be warranting, you know, traveling with all your gear and, you know, on a, you know, because we don't have, first of all, we don't have tours like in Europe we do, but, you know, it's too expensive to bring your own drums over to Europe now. You know, forget about it. It costs you more than you make on the tour.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, speaking of Europe, because so many of these bands I see and bands I'm into, everybody is going to Europe, and I see some of these bands come to America, and they're playing for, you know, 500, 1,000 people, and I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? You know, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I see you guys are doing...
Well, which bands are you talking about?
It could be anybody. You know, I see smaller bands. There's a couple of new bands I'm into, like Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, Rival Sons, Living Color, you know, just to name a few. They all do much better over in Europe than they do here, and it doesn't make any sense.
You know why? You know why? Because it didn't used to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that because there's no radio anymore here. was all based on radio, getting airplay, back in the 80s and even early 2000s, you're still able to get airplay. Now there's no airplay. There's nothing being played on the radio.
It's so true. Yeah, it is so true.
And that's why I said there was no new hero, because drum heroes, guitar heroes, there really aren't.
I read that interview.
Everything's been downloaded.
Mm-hmm.
When you download a song, you don't know who's playing on it. I downloaded a song by Blackstone Cherry, I think the name of it.
Yeah, they're a good band.
See, I never heard of them before until I read about them, that they cut our song from Cactus. They cut an Evil,
yes,
which
I
is
know
a
they
Cactus
did.
song.
Yeah.
Okay? And I listened to it. I downloaded it and listened to it. It sounded really good. I didn't have a clue who was in the band.
Right.
No information.
Right.
Then you got to go somewhere else to try and find out who's in the band.
Yeah.
Instead of you buy an album, or you used to buy a CD, and even a single, and it was listed on there who's playing in the band.
I miss the album, first of all. I miss having the album. I miss being able to go, and I say this to so many people. I miss being able to open up the album and know who played on what track, where it was recorded, who engineered it, who maybe did keyboards on this song.
Yeah, well, you got all that on our album, and so much of it was like a nightmare to try and figure it all out again.
That you do, because I've got it all right in front of me.
That's why we didn't put any lyrics on the album. We had so much other stuff to put, but we did put Monsters and Heroes because we thought that was the most important song lyrically, because the album was dedicated to Ronnie.
Right, right. Yeah, and I love the video.
But I know what you're saying. You're exactly right. But it's funny enough. The younger generation don't think like that.
No, they don't.
Remember they growing up where there used to be big record stores is now game stores.
Yeah.
They grew up with a choice of what they wanted to screw around with. Music was very important to us. To our generation up until probably 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
Now,
then it started coming into other things for replacing music.
Right. Do you think there's any future in hard rock for the younger generation?
Yeah, but it's different. It's different. These bands that are making it today, how long have they been together?
Right.
10 years?
Yeah.
10 years, and they're just starting to break some, and they're not going to sell many records.
No.
They're not going to make money on Spotify.
No.
They're not going to make publishing money.
Right.
So the only way to make money is for them to be out on the road. When you're starting up, you're out on the road, you're in a van, everybody in one van, maybe stay in a hotel, maybe not. You do that for 10 years and you end up selling 30,000 records.
Yeah. And you talk about Blackstone Cherry. 2 years ago, there was a tour. The band Shinedown, which is, they've got a handful.
I know them.
Good band. Hailstorm. I'm sure you're aware of Hailstorm.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And Blackstone Cherry. So all three of those bands played in Coney Island. And I went to see the show. It was a great show. Now, this place holds 5,000 people. And I'm looking at this, and I just saw yesterday. Okay. So I said to myself, back in the day, Shinedown would be playing the Garden by now. Hailstorm would be playing the Garden by now. So it's exactly what you're saying. They got to be out there for years and years and years. I'm like, it takes three main bands to just draw 5,000 people?
That's like that with, you look at Rod Stuart. We used to sell out 6 nights, 5 nights at the Garden, 6 nights in the Forum.
Yeah.
And now he's got to play with Cyndi Lauper and somebody else maybe to sell out one night.
I know. It's
but
crazy.
The tickets are a lot more expensive now.
That's another thing too. Yeah, your average arena show is, it's $100 to walk in the door.
Yeah, it's crazy, And this is what the problem is with everything. And the business is different now. So I don't know if there's ever going to be the way it was. I was lucky, knock on wood. I was blessed and lucky to come up in that era when it was all about music.
Right.
All about the playing, all about radio was changing, everything was changing. I mean, I did a solo album in 1982. I sold over 100,000 records. You know, it didn't even. It just about barely broke the charts at like 98 or 90. You know.
Right.
Now you sell 100,000 records, you got a #1 record.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And you know, back to Rod Stewart for a second. It's almost funny to me that you, such a hard rock guy, a heavy metal guy, actually co-wrote "Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
Well, because when we wrote it, it wasn't supposed to be. We didn't know it was going to end up like that. You know, which hey, I can't argue with it. It was like a hit everywhere.
Yeah, it made money.
You know. Yeah, but it was a giant hit. It was his biggest hit, you know. But originally, when we recorded, it had 3 guitars, bass, drums, and the keyboard, and it sounded pretty heavy-duty rock, you know. But then Tom Dowd, who produced it, brought in all these other things. He brought an orchestra in to play the line. He brought Tom Scott in to play the solo. He brought David Foster in. We had all these guys. He had singers singing the line way up top that you could hardly hear. So, and as you do all that, the rest of the track shrinks. You know, so that's what happened to it. I mean, if you re-record or remix that song without all the strings and without all the bells and whistles, it would be a heavy rock song, sort of like "Missing You" by the Rolling Stones.
Right, right.
That's what we were going after.
Interesting. Well, now you got this new album, and this is a solid rock album. I've been listening to this for a few days now, and again, first of all, I love the cover, how it's half you, half your brother.
That's a Frankenstein cover.
It's beautiful. Whose idea was that?
That was mine.
A great idea. Because I looked at it.
You know what? You know why? We had this other idea, call it Masked Appice, right?
Oh, that would have been cool.
Then Appice.
Yeah.
We had one of the pictures from the album where we're looking like we're in a painting, you know. That was going to be the cover. We sent it to SPV in Europe, and they didn't understand what the play on words, Masterpiece thing. And they actually said, this is one of the worst album covers I've ever seen. You know, you guys have been doing this so long. It's horrible. We need something else. So I said, great.
Well, this is really good, but that is a good concept, man. I don't know why they didn't get it.
Yeah. Well, because English is not their first language. Very easy. You know? So I went on their website, and I said, let me see the album covers that they liked, that they released. I saw one cover that had a female artist with half her face and half a skeleton. I said, that's interesting. I said, maybe we should do half my face and half Vinny's face.
It's brilliant.
So as we were doing it, my art guy put it together, and I said, put stitches down the middle, like Frankenstein. And then when he did that, I said, we can call the album Sinister. And then I said, let's put all the test tubes and let's make it like a Frankenstein vibe, you know, lab.
Yeah.
So he did that and made it look old, decrepit lab and, you know, test tubes and flasks. And it came out great, and it actually came out better than the original idea. Yeah. And everybody, we saw that, everyone that saw that cover said, holy Christ, wow.
Oh, it's cool. It is way cool.
Yeah.
It's
really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you and your brother finally doing an album for the first time, and it's like to combine both of your faces, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and then we have a goof with that. Like when we did interviews, we said a guy like he would say, you know, those stitches on the cover. He says, yeah, when they took them out, my face really hurt. You know? And I go, yeah, man, it's killing me.
That's funny. Well, it's a rock solid album.
Yeah, that song, You Got Me Running, it's funny that, you know, everybody's picking that one to be the second single thing, you know. Because that one I wrote on my iPad at GarageBand with the same arrangement. And it's funny enough, I wrote the lyrics 4 years ago when I was on tour with Vinny in Europe, on the last tour of Europe we did. And we were in a Czech Republic hotel, and the walls were thin as hell. And it was like 2 a.m, and I'm singing into my iPad the melody and lyrics and stuff. And I was afraid, you know, I was singing too loud, I was going to wake Vinny up next door, you know. And it was really funny. So when we did the track, we just did this track exactly like the arrangement we did on the iPad, except we did it on multi-track with real drums and everything. It came out great. You know?
Yeah.
It came out great. Because I think there will be another album. Judging just from the reviews and everything, hopefully that they'll warrant enough sales to do it. Well, you know the other song, Monsters and Heroes, that was recorded with King Cobra originally, with Paul singing. It's in 2011, but we gave it to Wendy Dio for Ronnie's charity.
Okay.
Right? And then she did it on the charity for a couple of years, and then all the money that it made went to the charity. And then it kind of came back to me. And last year I went to Sweden Rock Festival with King Cobra. And I said to Paul, let's play Monsters and Heroes. It's such a good song. And I think the audience would love it. So we did an a cappella version of Heaven and Hell. And then we brought it into Monsters and Heroes, which is about Ronnie. And the audience loved it. So when we started to look for material for this, I thought, Vin, check this song out. Yeah, I think you'd like it. And Vinny loved it. So we got the multi-tracks and we edited it and we fixed things up. We put Vinny on it and then remixed it and everything. And what we got was, an Appice Brothers version of the song. And when we wrote it and released it back in the day in 11, we wanted the kind of push that we got now for it. So I guess it was meant to be to wait and do it with me and Vinny, because you got Paul was managed by Ronnie and Wendy. Vinny played with him, and Ronnie's my friend himself.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot more sense now, where and it's getting the push that I intended it to get, especially with the video. Like I said, the video's awesome. Wendy gave us permission to put Ronnie in the video, and it's great.
Let me ask you, because I believe this just opened last night. What is your opinion of the Ronnie James Dio hologram tour?
Well, I don't know until I see it, I mean, I really only saw it on my phone. You can't really tell.
But do you like the idea?
I think the idea is interesting to keep the music.
Yeah, so do I.
Keep the music alive,
Yes.
And if it works, I heard they're working on other ones too.
Yeah.
Already.
Because at first,
if it works, I mean, you can have Queen with Freddie Mercury.
Sure. And why not?
Elvis, Michael Jackson. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I say why not? I mean, I read some people that had some negative comments about it, and I watched the videos, and I said, I would go see this. It's cool.
That'd be Gene Simmons. That'd be his dream.
Yeah, exactly.
He can sit home.
Yeah, you're right.
He can sit home and have 4 holograms on the stage.
And he gets to live forever, like it. Yeah, you're right. This is finally his way to go on forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, it's easy to do with like a singer. It's very difficult to do with guitar players unless you have guitar players actually doing the part or a drummer actually playing the part exactly what's being filmed.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, singer, it's a little easier because they're just moving around and singing. They're not following their fingers and stuff,
You're hitting the road in January, and you're in Poland. It's almost kind of funny to read, but it makes sense. You're in Poland, you're in Germany, for a few shows in Germany. Then you do Austria, you do Italy, you do Spain, you come back, you do Anaheim, California, and then all of a sudden you see Staten Island, New York. It's almost like, what's wrong with that picture?
I was born at the hospital, Staten Island, but I lived in Brooklyn.
What's the reason?
It's a beautiful theater. Well,
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, a gig that came up, we got it. Our agent and Vanilla Fudge agent is the same one. So I told him, well, just go back and see if he'll do it, because, we got a lot going on. There's a lot of PR going on in the internet, and the album is, sort of getting the buzz going. And, we know Ace, we know all the guys in the band.
Sure.
And, we think it'll be a good match as far as, audience-wise.
Oh, I think so, too.
It's that whole 80s heavy metal audience,
Right.
It's the same audience as me and Vinny's audience.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good fit, and I plan on being at that gig because...
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's a nice theater, too. Carmine, I want to thank you so much, man, for taking the time to talk to us.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
All right, Carmine.
All right, dude. See you soon, bro.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.